Hello, wrestling fans, and thank you for joining us again as we are reliving the extreme. Nate Maxon here with you, and of course, I am joined, as always, by my brother Aaron.
Hello.
And ECW alumnus Mr. Chad Austin is here with us.
Shut it the fuck down.
And this week's show, we are reviewing ECW Ultra Clash 1993 from the ECW Arena September 18th. And just a little tidbit of information. Chad, this is a couple of times on the show you have mentioned that you remembered the show where Eddie Gilbert and Doug Gilbert left. Eddie was selling his ring gear and etc. This is indeed that show. The report that someone filed for the Pro Wrestling Torch about this show actually has, during intermission, Eddie Gilbert gave a speech saying farewell to his fans, saying he was pursuing other interests. He was trying to sell his wrestling gear, $200 for his boots, $70 for his tights, and $150 for his ring jacket. He said how he was proud to be king of Philadelphia, and he left. The fans popped for him as he left. So there you go. This is that show.
That must have been when Doug grabbed the baseball bat.
Oof.
and went bananas backstage. You know, so I think we brought it up on the show before. I don't think it's any secret. Like, this was my first show. Like, not working for the company, but my first show backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you said. This is 93.
Yeah, September 18th.
I was 22 years old, maybe, and I go backstage, and the first thing I see is Eddie Gilbert basically getting run out of the business, and his brother's beating up tables with a baseball bat about stopping him from going out there and doing whatever. And I'm going, what? I'm working here. I mean, how is this going to benefit? But yeah, it was crazy. Because being a mark, because I was in the crowd before the show started. I actually tried to go back and look for myself because I know where I was at. I tried to look for myself back in the crowd and see where I was at, and I couldn't find me. I thought I found me because I did wear glasses back then, and then I remember being backstage, and it was very cool to go back and watch the show because being backstage. I couldn't watch the whole entire show.
Right.
Because I was not being thrust around like I was a star or anything. I was basically a jabroni guy who was lost and didn't know what to do, but they only had one monitor. But yeah, it was a phenomenal. Yeah, it was a great, to me, it was the Eddie Gilbert thing. I'm just looking around going, what's going on?
Right. Yeah. Not knowing the machinations of everything going on behind the scenes. So would Doug flipping out, I'm assuming that probably took place. I'm assuming that didn't take place before he went to the ring. I'm assuming that was after he got done with everything he had to do in the ring that night.
I'm not, it was either, well, I bet you it was before he set up his table outside.
Okay.
So I don't know where that coincided with his run-in, so to speak, that clearly he was dressed for in the run-in. So I don't know where that coincided with that, but I bet you it was around that period when he had his table. Because that was just not like ECW. Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't even know ECW rules. There was no ECW rules. They were making them as they went along.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no etiquette. So yeah, he just said, fuck this. I'm just selling my shit.
Sell my shit. Beat some shit up with a bat, and then we're out of here.
Yeah. It was crazy, man.
Was it or was it not refreshing to hear Joey Styles start off this show?
I don't know about that, Nate. I had gotten accustomed to the stylings of Jay Sully.
Our friend Six Pack, who we're going to see later on in the show.
Do we?
Yeah, do we ever? We replaced it with...
I was just going to say, so Sully's gone. You don't know where you got till it's gone. Bring back Sully.
And then he shows up in a straw hat later on. The show opens up with the ECW debut of the Public Enemy, as they have it's a match. It happened. It was against Jason Knight and Ian Rotten, who Jason Knight would eventually become obviously just Jason. At this point, I think he's just coming off doing jobs for WWF, I think.
Yeah, I don't know the relationship. Clearly, you can see that Paulie just needed two guys that he wanted to put Public Enemy over on.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't find two guys in the locker room. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't two guys. Were they that bad? That even, like, two independent guys wouldn't put him over? They had to go out to the crowd and find Ian. And because Axel was the one that said, I ain't doing it.
Okay. Yeah,
Ian Rotten is just a slightly less offensive looking, like, Canadian Wolfman.
yeah, that's a fair assessment. That's
at least Ian put a shirt on. I'll give him that.
Dude, Ian's one of my buddies. I don't want to beat up. I don't like that garbage stuff that he promotes, whatever. And I like Axel and all, but Axel and Ian are the worst for when somebody body slams you and you're overweight, and instead of selling your back, you pull the front of your shirt down to cover your gut. Like he did it so many times in that match that I was just like, he just threw you in the corner and you're pulling your shirt down. You're pulling your shirt down.
That's funny that you said it, because I actually picked up on that. I put Ian's obviously very body conscious. Because
they both were. It was crazy.
But like you said,
do anything about it.
like you said, Chad. Why couldn't we have Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal in here against the Public Enemy? You know, somebody like that. Instead, we get Donnie later on in the Battle Royal, but we'll talk about that. Overall, this match, I don't have a lot of notes on it, other than it was short and sweet. And then
as far as how the Ian Rotten Jason Public Enemy match,
yeah, I don't have a lot of notes on it, to be honest.
I wrote it was just a good open.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it was a great introduction to a new character team, and I mean, it was outside the box.
Right.
It wasn't like they put Road Warrior Hawk with fucking,
Jimmy Snuka.
Tom Morocco.
Yeah, Jimmy Snuka. And TCB brother. It wasn't like they did anything like that. They brought in they introduced a new character, and the people were willing to accept it. Mm-hmm. That was the best thing about it. Like, they were willing to accept it. They didn't know. I don't. There's no chance that 90% of them people, of that, 600 people that were in that building, knew that one of them was Ted Petty, the Cheetah Kid, and the other one was fucking Fat Johnny. I don't even know what his gimmick was, and IWCCW. I don't know what his gimmick was, but there's no chance they knew. But they accepted the gimmick. You understand?
Mm-hmm. And it was an audience. It was an audience craving something new, and they gave them something new. They gave them something new to look at, other than, I mean, we're going to have the Super Destroyers later on in the show.
Oh boy, are we?
But yeah, it's just like you were kind of alluding to, the people accepted it because they wanted something new and something fresh, and yeah. So, Aaron, any comments on the match itself?
Just kind of what you guys were saying, and if it was kind of their way of showing you, hey, things are going to change a little bit, and we're going to right out the chute. Here you go, something different.
Well, which one of you two were bigger into reading the sheets?
Probably me.
So what do you think the fan base was like then? Like, as far as reading the sheet, because I was reading the sheets then, and I'm thinking, like, is the fan base liking it because it's different? Or are they liking it because they think they're smart different? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of both, because at this time I was, 93, I was 15. So I was, coming of age in that I was no longer a little Hulkamaniac. No. I was starting to actually see the business for what it was and start to look at the product a little deeper, and that's why I started subscribing to the sheets.
So you saw what all them prayers and vitamins and stuff.
Yeah, brother. Yeah,
and you said, I don't need this anymore, brother.
But and at this time, '93, WWF was stale. WCW was off the fucking rails. And, the people are just craving something new and something different. And Paulie saw that, he, took what was going on in Puerto Rico and some of the stuff that was going on in Japan.
That's interesting what you just said right there.
About Paulie?
Yeah. That's a Dateline-ish like kind of tagline right there, you could say, about Paulie when it comes to ECW. Because to me, it goes back to the relationship that Eddie and Paul had in Mobile, in Alabama. And then for this to happen, it's like, that must have been a really fucking fucked up breakup.
Right.
You know? I mean, something had to have really gone, exponentially wrong in that breakup, because if you look at who did what for who, and Eddie did for Paul. Paul did, and then Eddie did for Paul again.
Right.
And then Paul said, "I don't do it for Eddie."
Yeah, you fucked him.
Yeah. Did not reciprocate. Nope.
Well, that's very interesting. That's almost Dateline-ish. Like, that's like Dark Side of the Ring-ish. I mean, isn't it kind of?
It would be an awesome story to hear, because I really haven't heard any. I'll have to look through these things and the torches that I have, but I haven't seen anything. And they really, to be honest, so far aren't reporting much on ECW in the other than it just being part of their indie wrap up or whatever. They're not talking about it as a promotion of substance yet. So, but yeah, if somebody knew, the story about, I'm sure Todd does. About,
but I don't think I don't want to say anything bad about Todd. I've never had a bad dealing with Todd, but I don't think he fucking knows. I think you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, he's getting played by both of them more than likely.
Trying to get any information that who said that? Aaron?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Paulie just played him better. I mean, at the end of the day, just played the game better.
Yeah, that's entirely true. But it's hilarious that we're talking about a wrestling territory in 1993 when the territories have been gone for almost 5 years.
Right.
Before, and this is the last. Smoky Mountain's out there, sure. Okay, I'll give Smoky Mountain credit, but other than that, it's ECW, and they're not even running as much as Smoky Mountain. And look about it's where they're at. They're on the East Coast. They're going to get more opportunity. They're going to get more. Their talent pool is going to be a lot bigger. Clearly, right? Yeah,
and their fan base is going to be more accepting of something new too. Whereas your Smoky Mountain crowd,
they want black guy, white guy.
Right. Yeah.
I mean that literally, not black hat, white hat guy.
The next match on this show is for the coveted Pennsylvania State Championship. And Hunter Q. Robbins is still here. He's still floating around. He is managing Tony Stetson, who I didn't even know won the title. And we never saw a title change.
No, that's what I was going to say. Like, this had to have been something they were doing on their little spot shows.
It was over a game of dominoes.
Because they were talking about stuff that happened in this feud and never was even on TV. Like, they were talking about Cairo losing the belt and this, that, and the other thing. It's like none of that shit ever even happened on TV. So they were either making it up.
If you went on ECW.com in '93, you would have seen that that the Pennsylvania title was 24/7.
It would have taken.
So actually, Jay Sully won the belt, and then he lost the belt. Matt Radico won the belt. Then he ended up losing the belt to Bob Ortiz, I think it was.
And then that dirty Stevie Wonderful got a reign in there somewhere.
Yeah, and then all of it ended up being a loser leave the company stipulation.
And then everybody left. Yeah.
That's why is it? It's a great gimmick to use nowadays. If you win this belt, it means you're gone. Yeah, I don't know. I see something here.
During this match, actually, it wasn't a badly worked match. I didn't think, and it didn't lose my interest. And I liked Stetson working the goofy heel thing, like when he ran into the scaffold, and it was good for what it was. these guys went out and tried anyway.
I'll tell you what I wrote, and I thought I was pretty confident when I wrote it down, and I'm going to take this back vehemently in a few moments. That I wrote, first off, I thought it was too many arrest holds.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't know how to work to that crowd. That's fine because these guys don't get the reps that a lot of guys get, or they work so many times a week or do so many,
right.
So they're going to do whatever they were trained to do. They haven't explored yet. And I thought it was a lot of rest holds. And I wrote, this is what I wanted to hit on, that I wrote it was probably going to be, oh, you're going to love this, Aaron. I wrote that it was probably going to be the worst match on the show.
Wah, 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 wah.
Well, I can't believe that I forgot where I was on my notes when I have a little mark next to it on the paper. Let me know where I wrote, this is probably going to be the worst match on the show.
The doozy hasn't even hit yet.
Yeah, it turned out it wasn't even the third worst.
Dude, the super doozies. Oh, my God. Wait till we get to the super doozies.
Aaron, any thoughts on that? You got any notes on the match here?
Just that I just put the Stetson actually kind of looked better not having his mullet and all that. And I just thought he looked better. Like in his singlet without his mullet. I mean, he actually looked not like schlubbish or whatever. And I just thought that the match was what it was, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything that you were gonna drive home in the car and be like, man, that Stetson Cairo match. I can't believe what I saw.
Changed my life.
Changed my life, man.
I think that I probably think that it prolonged his career there, because I too felt that when he walked out and he had that belt over his shoulder, he had a decent looking look to him,
mm-hmm.
like a swagger,
Yeah.
And the way that it came across on TV, you almost want to be like, yeah, you know what,
this guy might be something, yeah.
And look at the field. Look at the rest of the guys that we were talking about, and look who sticks around, who's still working there in '94.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys notice? I have on my notes because the match, folks, ends with a belt shot with Stetson going over. But did you notice Tony had a little trouble getting a hold of the belt when he was trying to? Did you even notice that? Like when he was trying to get the belt off the table outside the ring, he's just kind of like fishing around for it. He was having trouble getting a hold of that belt.
I don't know what he was doing. It seemed like, as a rib, like somebody would have like put the belt around the table and strapped it in.
Yeah, it was like he was struggling. He was on the struggle bus to get a hold of that belt.
It's right there on the table.
Right.
Grab it. If worst case scenario is take the whole entire table in there with you.
That's a weapon too.
Yeah, I thought that was. I literally expected that to be the worst match of the night, and there's nothing against either one of the two guys. Not at all. Because I just figured, I looked down the lineup with the rest of the guys, the talent that was on the show, and I just figured, okay, now we're getting towards the end of the preliminaries, so to speak. And I was like, well, all right, well, that's the worst thing that's going to be on the show. Then, I'm cool with that. I didn't fucking throw anything at the TV, or
Yeah, it didn't even turn out to be the second worst thing on the show.
But little did I know.
Up next, it's been a whirlwind story.
It's the one the world's been waiting for, clamoring.
It's
for
been a
doozy versus doozy.
Yes, it's been a whirlwind story.
Oh, it is next.
Where this gentleman, one of these gentlemen has been turned on twice. That evil Hunter Q Robbins in reverse. The evil Hunter Q Robbins in the middle of all of this. Yes, that's right, folks. It's Super Destroyer 1 versus Super Doozy 2.
Super Destroyer 1 is worse at picking friends than Sting.
God. Yeah, you're not lying, man. I don't even know what to say. I don't, honestly. I'll let you guys beat it up first, because it was. I hate to use this word. This is not fair to Doug or AJ. It's not fair to them, but it was ridiculous. It was just them two just didn't know how to work in front of that crowd, and it's not their fault, you know.
The match was just—it was so plodding. It was just so plodding. It was just
plodding,
excruciating. Yeah, it was
excruciating. Is way of a better word than plotting. At least plotting sounds like you have an ends to a mean. But excruciating is like, I have to watch this.
And it just won't end. It just won't end. Like, this match was probably 7 minutes long. It was 5 minutes too long.
And the offense was bad. Everything was, you know, I guess the term of the times is indie-rific.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's indie-rific. But for 1993, yeah, it was very indie-rific. The clotheslines, they were like right in the fucking... Right above the pecs, you know, and
when number one landed on number two with that reverse splash, he landed on him like a fucking couch. Like, did you notice that? Like,
well, that kind of crap, they don't know how to do that yet because that's fucking big in Mexico. They haven't found somebody in the States yet to figure out how they can work that. So these two big fucking gigantic fucks are just jumping all over each other. but the offense and the punches and all that crap. That was all just, you know, it was indie-rific. And I like I said, I don't want to beat up them guys at all, but you can obviously tell the crowd was just like, what the fuck, man? Mm. Like, I for instance, I even wrote down, did you see how many people, 9 people walked by in the background of that, in the background of it, that were going to the concession stand?
Yep, this is your popcorn match. Yeah,
they sold more well, no, they didn't sell popcorn. They sold popcorn. They sold pretzels, and they sold beer. There, that's about it. Yeah, it was. I felt bad for the both of them. And can you imagine how bad my friend Doug felt when they took his mask off,
and then
it wasn't Dusty Rhodes,
and. And all Joey could keep saying was, I know who this guy is, but I just can't place him. He looks familiar.
I think he replaced my pool filter.
Yeah. I mean, there's a million. I didn't even write a joke for that because I figured not only will you two write a joke for that anybody listening to this can write a joke for that. I know you.
I've seen you at the Super Save Mart. Yeah.
We just had 1.5 inches of snow, and you shoveled my sidewalk.
And you destroyed it, my friend. You absolutely destroyed it.
Yeah, that I felt. I really felt bad for Doug. That was like, I bet you AJ probably volunteered to lose because he didn't want to have to take his mask off in Philadelphia and have everybody go, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Who the fuck is that? Yeah.
Because they set it for fucking Doug. And Doug was you know what? Doug didn't last too much longer after that, honestly. He lasted about 4 years.
Mm. Aaron, I know we kind of dominated on talking about the match. Do you have any other notes there about
the little said about this? The best. It was just bad. It was dumb, and it was just it was Cabrini. It was Cabrini-rific.
Yeah. And after this match, they start a trend that at times would be something ECW would do. Dark Patriot comes out to attack Super Destroyer number 1, who is still masked.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to catch up with you, but I had a whole lot more notes on that last match.
Oh my.
But no, now that I'm reading them, we pretty much covered them. Like,
we covered them.
I'm just reading them going, yeah, that was terrible. Yeah, that was really bad. And then
I agree with myself.
I wrote this guy's name down. I don't know if you know this guy's name. Oh my God, his name is Chuck. I don't remember his last name. I don't know. But if you go back and watch, there was a big boo that started during like that fucking whatever match we just talked about. And I'm 100% sure that was him. Like, and I'm just like, the crowd just like don't want to see this anymore.
Yeah,
like,
they want this They want to get the fucking hook. Get these guys out of here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep up with the way the show format's running. I'm sorry I'm behind, but I wrote so many notes about how bad this was that it's incredible. Oh, was that? Oh, we haven't got to the Okay, now I think I'm caught up now.
Dark Patriot comes out. Dark Patriot comes out, and then JT comes out to make the save, and then we just roll right into the scaffold match. Dark Patriot and JT Smith on a scaffold, and right off the bat, Dark Patriot starts off by shooting powder in the eyes of JT. Aaron, you want to go through your notes on this deal?
Is that what he did? He threw powder at
the right off the bat, yeah.
Yeah.
You're fucking kidding me. I didn't see that.
Yeah, he powdered him, and then it just scaffold matches are what they are. It's my second least favorite like stipulation or specialty match because there's not a lot they can do. I mean, these guys, they did okay on it. I thought it was cool that they used the fucking pipes in the ceiling as a prop. That was pretty cool, and
that could have been dangerous.
Yeah, it was ballsy too. Something else that I wrote, and Chad might know this, but I don't. Did Joey call wrestling anywhere before ECW?
No, I think he was fucking Paulie's insurance agent.
Because for just first time doing it, fucking Joey's killing it on here, man.
Isn't
I don't
that
know
what
if
it was?
I'm not sure. I never knew if he just did something somewhere else, and it might be because we've been listening to fucking Jay Sully for however long. But
yeah, they could have had Helen Keller doing commentary.
But
I learned Braille before I got to see Jay Sully anymore.
But yeah, it was decent for what it was.
I thought Joey Styles. I thought Joey Styles did a great job. You can clearly tell he probably didn't have a shit ton of experience, but Paulie can coach anybody up. You know, and plus you're doing it in front of nobody. You're doing it. You're doing it in. He's not in the Eagle's nest. As he leads you to believe, he's not in the Eagle's nest up there.
He's in Paulie's mom's basement.
He's at Tommy's and Dreamers. He's in Dreamer's mom's basement. Nobody's going to see Paulie's mom's basement. Come on, seriously. I'm sure there's evidence down there.
So just
nobody hears about Paulie's mom. They only hear about Paulie's father.
So lots of checks that never made it in the mail down there.
Yeah,
to answer your question, Aaron, while you were talking, I hopped on the interwebs here real quick. Joey got his start in '92. Announcing for Tony Capone's North American Wrestling Alliance. He would split time with former WWE announcer Craig DeGeorge or join DeGeorge for a two-man commentary team. So I didn't ever know that was a thing. So there you go. There's your answer. He did a little bit of work before this.
And then, like I said, this match, it was what it was. And not to spoil anything, but obviously Dark Patriot wins. And was I the only guy that noticed that after he threw JT off, Doug was thinking about jumping off of that scaffold, but then was like, fuck it. Fuck it, I ain't doing that.
It's my last night anyway. What the fuck would I do that for?
I really, exactly, because he actually looked like he was going to crouch. And he was just going to so what, are you going to bend down 2 feet? And then you're still going to jump 20 feet down again? That's not happening. But I thought myself, it had all the makings of a great scaffold. And again, for the second week in a row, I wrote down, what is JT going to fuck up?
Mm-hmm.
And he fucked up something. I don't know what it was, where he almost fell off the fucking goddamn thing.
I think it was when he went to try to do that drop kick.
Oh,
he was going to do a drop. Yeah, he went to do the drop kick and he had to shut a step because he almost fucking fell off. And Doug was just standing there looking at him like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I thought that I don't know. Do either one of you two think you guys have never been in the ring?
Right.
You've never done anything wrestling related. Do you think it's that hard to book the psychology of a scaffold match?
It seems pretty straightforward to me. To be honest, everything that you do in a scaffold match should look like you're attempting to throw the guy off the scaffold. I mean, because that's the way you win.
Or getting the guy set up to throw him off the scaffold.
Right.
Like, you're not going to do the fucking that fish out of water spot where they do the sunset flip, push your legs through, grab a hold of you, spin around. You know what I mean? You're not doing Guerrero Malenko.
Right.
Up there. So it's like, how hard is the psychology for this? But I thought I was expecting, I'm not going to lie, I was expecting the best psychology, because I don't know about you tell me, I think there was elements of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was very good psychology in it, but I think a lot of it had to do with, I'm sorry to say this, poor JT, that he was just the culprit of being the guy that, not the guy that's going to pull this off.
Mm-hmm.
But he a lot of stuff was great. I thought a lot of stuff was really good. The psychology of how you build to where he falls off. And at some point, am I mistaken? I thought Doug was supposed to throw powder later on.
And he actually did later on, too. He throws powder in the match twice.
Before that?
It was the same powder. Like, Joey actually made the joke the same time I in my brain was making a joke, because Dark Patriot just kept pulling shit out of his tights, and Joey goes, "What does he have, a hardware store in there?" And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this guy is just like, he's like the Black Scorpion. He's gonna have magic tricks going on, but to that, I think that was a good part of the psychology, because if the Dark Patriot is this piece of shit heel, then obviously he's gonna take a bunch of weapons and stuff up there, because he's gonna want to try to fuck over JT.
That was fine, but at one point he threw something that was nothing.
I missed that, I think.
I thought it was salt. Like maybe he had salt.
Mm-hmm.
Because I seen the chain. I figured it was just the whole entire arsenal.
Maybe he didn't get the bag open, and he accidentally just threw the bag at JT.
And then I'm looking at Jess and I'm yelling, "Why isn't he throwing powder? The guy's 30 feet above the ring." You know what I mean? You blind the guy with some fucking powder, he's going to take one false step. Kaboom!
Done. Yeah.
But no, I'm just going, what has he got? He got garlic? What's he going to do up there?
Well, yeah, like Aaron said, Dark Patriot beats. Okay, he threw. Maybe that was what you saw, Chad, because right at the end of the match, he throws powder again, and that's what makes JT fall off the scaffold.
Yeah, but that's what I thought he should have thrown about 2.5 minutes earlier.
Right.
Like when he reached in his pocket, he threw him a big puff of air. Take this.
It's like the eye test.
Yeah, he was fucking up JT's contacts.
And then after the match, he continues to beat up JT through the crowd. But like I think we were kind of alluding to, this one was half good and half doozy, I think. There were good elements to it, and there were definitely some doozy elements to it.
Well, it was a one spot.
Mm-hmm.
It was one trick pony. I mean, what are you trying to do? I mean, why would they even have Doug take JT through the building? He threw him off the fucking thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's you got your desired result.
Like,
now, I'm just going to keep beating the fuck out of this guy, even though I just plummeted him half to his death.
Yeah, but every single time you beat him up, it makes you look weaker.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're beating up a guy you've already destroyed. And the guy's still walking around with you as you're dragging him around from concession stand. You know what I mean?
Instead of being on a stretcher.
You're making him look stronger. So why not? You throw him off the goddamn thing, go downstairs and give him a couple of boots and put your foot on top of him and go, look at this fucking MFer,
Right.
He's garbage. But no, it's ECW.
The next match is the tag team wackiness that is Abdullah the Butcher and Kevin Sullivan against Terry Funk and Stan Hansen. And we start off, these guys it starts off as you would expect. They just go right into beating the fuck out of each other.
It doesn't just start off as we expect. It just continues, and then it continues, and then it ends as we expect.
Yes.
Aaron, is this your cup of tea?
Is there a wrestler that did more nothing than Abdullah the Butcher? Like in a match? He does nothing. Like, I know, like, when he was younger, he would do his elbow drop, and he was a little more or whatever, but Abdullah does nothing in a match. I enjoy him, but he just walks and forks. There's like nothing to Abdullah the Butcher.
You just said, is there? He did his elbow drop. Okay,
like, I'm just saying, like,
he did his elbow drop. Oh, well, I mean, whoa! Take my breath away. What? I mean,
and I get why people enjoy him and why people whatever, like, because of the gimmick and this, that, and the other thing. But Abdullah the Butcher does and has never done really anything for me.
Yeah, I mean, it also goes back to me, like, storyline. There's no storyline there, you know. There's no reason to have Abdullah there. There's no reason to have Hanson there. I don't know what the fuck's going on with all this nonsense. Like, you know, because to me it sounds like maybe because Victor's already got his fingers in, that maybe Baba, you know, is looking at getting his fingers in. Maybe getting some you know, All Japan talent from ECW and stuff like that. But yeah, Abby does nothing. Like, I can't even, like, we should do a podcast on when's the last time Abby really did it.
Right. Well, and I was going to say, with Abby, Jesus. It's a mystique thing. It's a mystique thing. Because I remember when I was a kid and he would be on, like, oh, crap, like, on the NWA or whatever on TV. When I was a kid, his mystique intrigued me. Like, the character intrigued me. But as I got older and started focusing and watching for different reasons, like Aaron said, I mean, he doesn't do anything. He just stands there, or, you know,
saw right through him.
Yeah. That was, like I said, it was just a mystique, and I can see why. If you look at the way that Japanese fans back then, when he was huge there, reacted to wrestlers, I can see why he was big there. You know, that guy coming at him, you know, or chasing him off or whatever, the Japanese people ate that shit up. So I can see why he was over there. But I'm never going to seek out an Abdullah the Butcher match.
And not to mention the rabbit in the hat. Like, they didn't know how guys bled over there.
Right.
You have Abdullah just grabbing guys, pushing them in the corner, and he's just grabbing, you know, and then the next thing you know, they're bleeding. You know, they don't. I'm sure people knew about the gimmick, but Abdullah was so good about it. How he did it. Fuck that. I wouldn't have allowed that. To me, how that works, like, however that him and the Sheik, Eddie Farhat, do their gimmick where they just put the blade on the inside of their hand, and they kind of like touch your head when they punch you, kind of thing. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You ain't. Yeah. How about this? How about I'll just have a match with New Jack and I'll ask him to cut me. What do you think about that one, Abdullah?
Larry.
Yeah, I call big fat fucking Larry. You just dumped yourself out of a job.
Come on down to big fat fucking Larry's barbecue and
state it right now. That's the title of the show.
Big fat fucking Larry.
Big fat fucking Larry.
I literally almost booked a trip down there to go to his barbecue place. I had a thing booked, like, with Jess, where I had a couple of things that I had to take care of, like with my family and stuff. And I was like, well, why don't we just do like a whole entire like thing out of this? Like a 2 weeks, you know, we'll drive to Knoxville, take care of this. And then while we're in Knoxville, we'll go to, you know, Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. And it fell through because I think I heard that Abby closed up his Chinese food and ribs joint.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you lose money selling Chinese food and ribs?
Right. It's pretty low cost, low overhead there.
Yeah.
Well, this match is interesting.
When did
Abby?
I didn't mean to cut. I didn't mean to cut you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
But when did Kevin Sullivan stop fucking selling for anything. You know? Can you give me?
I can't pinpoint it, but I can't pinpoint it, but I can definitely see what you're saying. Like,
this match it's all over the fucking place. And then like Eddie Gilbert gets involved in it, and Joey's like, Eddie's involved. He's not even booked. It's like he's been booked. And
you've been advertising him for the match
for the last 3 months.
I think that was if you want my opinion on this, I think that was to honor the stipulation thing, and that's it.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like I mean, at first I was probably like, oh, Eddie just ran it like and did it, but I was like, no, you were right. He was booked in the main event.
Yeah. Yeah, he was supposed, but and I don't know if he quit before the show. I don't know if he quit during, because there had to be something going on where they felt the need to replace him in the match, because you're not just going to call Kevin Sullivan at noon and say, hey, can you be at this show tonight at 8? You know, so obviously Sullivan got booked ahead of time. But why was Eddie taken out of the match in the first place? You know, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how that came about.
I agree. I don't know, because I haven't started yet, and even if I had started, how the fuck would I know it? I'm not going to be hanging around with Eddie and Paul and Todd going, "Hey man, what's the deal with Eddie?"
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on with the upper echelon here at ECW?
So Eddie could have been gone as early as Friday, right? You know, because, you know, Paul would have been like, hey, I want to bring in so-and-so, so-and-so. And Eddie was like, well, I already had this show booked.
Right.
And then it could have been that's why Eddie just like, well, fuck it, I'm just running it. Because that's what I think that Doug just smashed the place up.
Well, Dark Patriot even comes out during this. We get Kevin Sullivan hitting Terry Funk with a hammer.
All that shit sucked.
Yeah.
All of it sucked.
And okay, I'm losing myself in my notes here. Sorry, because like you said, there's this like Aaron said, this thing's all over the place.
Yeah, and it doesn't actually surprise me that Abby would just shut his restaurant down, because, I mean, that dude never sold anything, so he was probably just like, shut it down.
Hey-o!
Joke of the show.
Shut it down.
Fuck. You ain't kidding. You never sold anything. Yeah, all that offense between that brawl was so bad. Like, you know, even Terry Funk's chair shots to Kevin Sullivan. Like, I would never sell the guy laying a chair on my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It looks silly.
He's laying it on his head.
Exactly.
With it. He's just putting it on his head.
And then you have this match that literally, I mean, obviously if we're watching this match and we see the concept of it, has no disqualification, and it winds up ending on a disqualification. The end didn't make any sense, because Eddie Gilbert comes out and I think hits Terry Funk with a chair, and then they call a match. Okay, so you've had all this insanity for 10 minutes or whatever, and then this other guy comes out, hits one of the participants with a chair, and now, that's it. That's the last straw. It's time to throw this thing out. And they give the victory to Funk and Hansen. There's no real finish to this match, probably because nobody wanted to actually put anybody else over. I don't know.
Yeah, but how much do you think that was well, yeah, clearly that there was... Yeah, it was going to end that was going to end in chaos to begin with. But I mean, with the whole Eddie situation and stuff like that, they just did just go out there and get this match in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You just get it in the ring and
and get it the fuck over with.
Yeah, yeah. We'll deal with it later, kind of thing. That's what I'm guessing it did. I mean, do you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because this was, like I said, this was. I don't know. Even Johnny Hotbody winds up out there at one point. Like there's so many ingredients. There's so many ingredients of this soup, but this soup is not any good.
Well, that's good soup if you got Johnny Hotbody in it.
Anything else on this one, guys, before we move on to the next doozy? The next one is a doozy.
No, I'm just still trying to figure out why Kevin Sullivan hasn't sold since 1980. Like why is there a tape of somebody beating the shit out of Kevin Sullivan? Like, you know,
especially since he's my height. I mean, you know, it's not like he's a towering monster heel.
And not to mention, he's got to be in his late 60s now.
Yeah,
you know, he's got to be. But why isn't there? You've never seen him sell against anybody, even against Hogan. Like Hogan gives him a big Baba chop, and he kind of does a little fake ass roll away, and he's.
I haven't seen.
Get the fuck.
I haven't seen enough Florida to know. Did he sell for Dusty in Florida? Maybe no.
He did the same exact stuff he did his whole entire career. You hit him, he does a little fucking fake roll thing.
So probably like when was it him and Eddie in WWF, like the WWF? Was that like
82, 81 or 82?
What, Eddie Gilbert?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Eddie
Sullivan was there in 79.
Yeah.
Gilbert came in like 81. Were they ever a team?
Well, I just was thinking about when they were.
Was.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just saying maybe Sully, when he was in Madison Square Garden, was probably maybe the last time he did any kind of jobs or sold it for anybody or anything.
Can you imagine a guy? He's a guy who's not really a whole lot bigger than me. Maybe he weighs a little more than me. But could you imagine a guy like me going to just a show telling everybody, I'm not going to sell for you?
I'm not selling. I'm not selling, Funk. I'm not selling.
Yeah,
Fuck you, Hogan. Fuck you, Hogan. I'm not going to sell for Hulk Hogan. Who'd you ever
the wrestling business already has a guy like that. I think his name is Loki. Isn't that the guy?
Yeah, Loki. Yeah.
He won't put over anybody that can't beat him in a real fight.
He's a little big for his little britches.
It's like a Napoleon complex, probably.
Yeah. He even talks like this, so he sounds Loki. He talks like this, so he sounds bigger than he actually is.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm sorry. I like the guy low key. I had never had a bad experience with him, but when I heard that stuff about him not doing jobs, I just kind of was like, "What the fuck business are you in?"
Yeah. All right. The next thing here, we have the Intergender Battle Royal.
Love it.
In which Peaches has been replaced by Six Pack Sully. Peaches was supposed to be in this thing. She's not in it, but Sully is in it now.
Since when did he become a hillbilly?
We've got Sensational Sherry, Angel, Tigra, Don E. Allen, Jay Sully, and Hunter Q. Robbins. Hunter Q. Robbins in his tuxedo pajamas in this thing. And Aaron, take it away.
Well, what the fuck is Jay Sully wearing? When did he become a fucking hillbilly? Where's Freddie Gilbert? He was supposed to be in. I think he comes in later. I don't know. This thing was just... I can say this, that the Busty Angel went tits out for this match. I mean...
The Busty Angel?
Yeah.
Well,
her tits fall out.
Her
tits fall out.
And her hair comes off, too.
Yeah, her hair comes off. It's like
just an awful night for this young lady.
I think that was a shoot.
Oh, the wig thing?
Yeah, I think it was. Because I think I remember her throwing a fit backstage over that. If I'm wrong, then I'm sorry. But I think I remember hearing the thing because I know I didn't watch it.
She must have went to the Kevin Sullivan School of Wrestling then, because she's going to go backstage and throw a fit because Sherry Martel took her wig off. Know your fucking lane, lady. That's all I'm saying.
How about you're wearing a wig? It could fall off. What do you think about that? Have you ever thought about that? It could fall off.
You'd be like, hey, girl, don't cough or your wig might fall off. But yeah, this thing...
I just watched Brock Lesnar try to give Kurt Angle that shooting star press from WrestleMania.
Oof. That's a rough one.
That's a doozy.
I remember watching that thinking that guy's dead. There's no way that guy's still alive. And then he gets up and finishes the fucking match.
He would have been
I just now saw it right now, and I'm just
going. If he wouldn't have been what he was before he got in wrestling, in professional wrestling, he would have died.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least been paralyzed, which is how I felt after watching this intergender battle royal.
Go back to fucking Angel's fucking wig.
Tigra eliminates Angel after Tigra sits on the turnbuckle for the entire match, and that's how it ends. Tigra wins the intergender battle royal. I don't have a lot of notes. It was garbage.
Nothing.
It was garbage.
Nothing.
Other than the wig deal, and it was garbage. Aaron, any final thoughts, or want to put this shit to bed?
My note just says stupid.
It was. It was.
All it says is stupid.
And up next, our man Sal Velomo.
Yeah, and the loser gets 10 slashes with a wet noodle match.
Against, is it Richard Michaels? Is it Chris Michaels? Is it Bill Michaels? Is it Al Michaels? What's his first name this week?
Richard.
They've called him Chris. They've called him
Dick
Richard.
Michaels.
In any language, he sucks.
I can't even believe that I wasted the fucking ink to write this match down. Like, literally, like, we don't have a whole lot of pens in the house laying around, so I don't want to just go writing stuff down, without having any merit for it.
No one waste a perfectly good Bic. Yeah.
Yeah, why would I want to do that? I wrote down Palomo versus Richards. Come on. just come on. Like, after I've already watched Super D versus 1 versus 2, I figured I've watched all the fucking guys that aren't going to be here tomorrow.
And these two guys decided that in this match, they were both just going to trade standing drop kicks. I don't know how many standing drop kicks I saw in this thing, but they were both like, what do you do? Well, I do a standing drop kick. Well, so do I. Well, I guess we'll just trade standing drop kicks. That's.
I got to be honest. I actually tried to give Sir Richard Michaels some credit. Like, not credit. I tried to give him a chance during this match. And I'm looking at him going like, all right, let me see what he can do. Maybe we can find a spot for him in a different position, but let me see what he can do good. And by the end of the match, I just said, well, he got beat.
Apparently, he does a standing drop kick. That's all I got out of it.
Yeah,
it wasn't as good as Sal's fucking mule kick.
Yeah, this thing wasn't good at all, and Wildman Sal ends up winning. I don't even remember how he wins, but it was just bad.
Splash, I'm sure.
Yeah,
stupid fucking boo.
The pizza splash, but then it's the return. It's the return of the Rockin' Rebel, and he clocks the ever loving shit out of Wildman Sal with that chair.
I know, Aaron. I put Rockin' Rebel returns with chair. Aaron probably popped.
Oh, I was super happy. But he clocked the fuck out of him with that chair. I don't know if it was just well worked or what, but he smashed the fuck out of Sal.
I'll take that any day over the chair shots that happened in that tag team match with Stan Hansen and all them guys.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were just putting the chair on the guy's head. They were setting it on it. Yeah. Rebel, these guys are independent guys. They don't fucking know. Like, how many chair shots do you think Rebel's given people in his career this far? Maybe 4. He don't know how hard he hit somebody. He doesn't fucking.
Sal does.
Oh yeah.
And go ahead, Aaron. You had.
No, I was just gonna say too. Sully or Jay said something about Rockin' Rebel's clothes, like his attire, and I just noticed that there's I can't remember all the times he said it, but there's at least 4 times where Joey Styles is just making fun of people's laundry, he's just knocking people's clothes all throughout the show.
I think if you would have I heard what you're saying, Aaron. I heard the same thing about he was knocking the gym shorts and the tank top that he was wearing.
Yeah.
I think that could have been a gimmick because the Rebel was in good shape. He had a good, as Salvatore Bolomo would call it, a good physique. He had a good physique, and he was in good shape. So he wasn't cut like say a Chris Benoit thing, but he had a good physique, and he could wear that outfit. He wore them tight little fucking shorts, he was in Dazed and Confused, the gym teacher.
He's the ravishing rebel. He's the ravishing rebel.
Yeah. Well, why he could have easily have done that, but I guess because that was kind of the fashion at the time that Paul didn't see that. Because I bet you Paul would have watched it now. Why did I make that guy the fucking?
He could have been the rocking the gym shorts rebel.
Yes. Yeah, the 1977 gym teacher guy. Who's
and when I'm your Taz.
Make him
when
a
I'm
real
your tag
cast.
team, when I'm your tag team partner, everything's gonna be all right, all right, all right.
Right. Yeah. Do you have a good partner? No. Well, it'll be better if you did. Like, you just it's that. I mean, that gimmick just reeked of Rebel right then and there. And when I saw it, and I heard Joey Styles make a joke about his outfit, I was like, dude, that's ridiculous. Like, how do you think that's what he wants to go out there on TV and look like?
Up next, it's the ECW Championship match, and they never mentioned Tito, I noticed. So they never mentioned that. I know we discussed last week about it being a phantom title change from Tito to Shane Douglas. There was no mention of Shane even winning the title from Tito here. They just rolled on like Shane had always been the ECW champion.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, Rio de Janeiro. And he is defending against our good friend in his swimsuit, in his surf suit, the Sandman. This match, they went with the WrestleMania 9 rule, if you noticed, right at the beginning, because Sandman tried to take the powder. And the referee said if Sandman didn't come back by the count of 10, he was just going to give – or if Douglas didn't come back, I'm sorry. By the count of 10, he was going to give Sandman the title. So Shane comes back. He's with Paulie in his corner. I don't have a lot of notes on the match, just that it was a basic match. Shane Douglas coming in being the wrestler.
But right off the rip, Sandman hits one of those classic Sandman drop kicks.
Yes. Sandman drop kicks are, Coco Beware don't have any fucking thing to worry about. When it comes to drop kicks, when it comes to Sandman,
he really does just flail out there and hope he hits something, doesn't he?
I mean, yeah. I think Coco Beware probably has the best drop kick in the wrestling business, even if it looks as bad as it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad as it is, but Sandman's drop kicks are probably worse than you think it is.
Oof.
Because he has no idea what he's hitting.
Yeah, just as an observer, that's what I see. It's like he's just a spitball just flying through the air, waiting to hit a window.
He's throwing you in the ropes and he's just going, watch this. And he just jumps in the air and he just kicks you. And it's, Jesus.
It's like you just spit a wad of winter mint gum out of your mouth. You don't know whether it's fucking going. It's just going.
Yeah. Sandman is no Rick Martel.
This one ends with the phone shot and a excuse me and a high cross. There's the phone shot. There's the phone shot, and then Sandman kicks out. Sandman tries a high cross body on Douglas and rolls out. It rolls into a pin. Douglas holds the tights, gets the pin on Sandman. Like I said, I don't have a lot of notes on the match because it was pretty basic, Yeah,
there wasn't a lot to go bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure that makes any sense. Like they did enough basic shit that even Sandman couldn't fuck that up at that stage in the game. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that as a fucking knock on Sandman.
Right.
I mean, but at that stage in his career, working and the position that he's working in at this point, it was a position where he couldn't fuck that up.
Yeah,
I agree. I think everything looked great. I mean, Shane at this point, I'm sure that Shane was being positioned to be the top guy, and that's probably the catalyst for Eddie leaving. I bet you.
Did they have heat?
Not that I know of, but
okay.
Just that he saw he was being replaced.
Exactly. That Shane was going to be the guy that we're going to go with.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie probably just didn't like that because he thought ECW was going to be his southeastern,
right.
But you're talking about you're almost behind the times to begin with going into the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because times are changing.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, we just discussed it, and this isn't a knock on Eddie, but we just discussed earlier in the show how people were clamoring for something new. And as fun as Memphis wrestling is, the people in Philadelphia probably weren't clamoring for Memphis wrestling,
And plus, if you got Shane Douglas and he's the freshest guy off of TV, like he was literally just on TBS.
Right.
And yeah.
So
I think Eddie was, honestly, I really think Eddie was trying to keep ECW like, this is radio, so you can't see it on video, but like under his armpit kind of thing, like, or back pocket, so to speak.
Right.
I'm doing pretty good here, and I'm only going to allow who I want to be here to be here. And Paulie was like, "Oh, fuck this!
I got Shane Douglas. I got the Public Enemy.
I got the Public Enemy.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't go. Okay. Well, I mean, what do you got? Snow in your driveway? You got the Public Enemy to come over and get it out of there?
Johnny. So the next and final match of this event, and we do not know. I maybe I can look here. I'll look while we got the Headhunters, these two blobs, against Miguelito Perez and Crash the Terminator, who most of you would probably know as Hugh Morris from WCW.
In a relay race of death match. Like they're gonna run to the ring to get that.
They start out with a bat in the middle of the ring, and both teams have to. Let me see here. I'm looking at the report.
They have to fucking run to the bat, and what's dumb is they started to opposite sides of the arena. They're gonna do a relay race to the ring to get to the bat, and it's dumb because the faces. The faces of the match get to the bat first.
And then don't get to use it.
It should be the heel that gets to the bat first, so they can have the advantage. It would be like letting it would be the equivalent of like letting one of the faces of one side of the War Games match to come in the match second. You know what I mean? Like it's like so yeah. And I dislike the Headhunters very much.
It was unfair. It was unfair based upon diuretic reasons,
or diabetic in the case of the Headhunters.
Yeah, I'm sure one of them had diabetes.
Yeah. I mean, you had a fit. Miguel Perez Jr., and you had a decently in shape Bill DeMont as Crash Terminator, and you obviously had two out of shape, completely just no business being out there, guys. That wasn't
pumpkins
fair.
With feet. That's what the Headhunters are. They're pumpkins
Why
with
didn't they
feet.
give him a head start? They should have gave Mofat or Mofat or the head start and let him run out there. But yeah, I agree. Like when the babyface got the bat, I was like, "Well, why did they get the bat?" So what's he gonna do? He's gonna clean the ring, and the guys aren't gonna want to get in the ring.
Yeah, this thing is bad.
Bad.
The worst thing. I don't want to say the worst thing, but one of the bad things about it is there are two spots in this match where people go through a wall, and the cameras never catch it, not once. And Joey's like, "Oh my God, did you see that? He went through the wall." And I'm like, "No, Joey, I didn't see it." And then the second time they do it, and they don't catch it on camera. They have the worst fucking cameraman on the planet on this night.
They only had They only had the hard camera. Is that what it was?
Yeah. But yeah, you've got two times where guys go through the wall in this match, and they never catch it.
One thing is, I'll give Crash some credit. I'll give Bill DeMont some credit. He slammed Roast Fat or whatever. He slammed that motherfucker. That was
Roast Fat.
This thing, it was kind of just like a sour way to end a somewhat decent show, I thought. It
was rough. Definitely rough.
I just don't like, there's a lot that I love about the Headhunters. Like they to me, they reek of great enhancement talent matches on TV, right? Like, 222? You give them
slam them, jam them, hit the moonsault and get out.
Get the fuck out, right? Slam them, jam them, like you said, 222. But you get them out there anything longer than 10 minutes, and they just look pathetic.
They're just they're just waddling around. And...
I mean, honestly,
and pumpkins with feet.
Like pathetic is the only word that I can describe them. It really is pathetic because they're out there breathing heavy and then just walking around carrying a guy who's supposed to be selling. And at some point, I'm not going to be selling anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I've woken. I have awoken. Yeah. So let's see. The Headhunters win this match. I'm not going through my notes. We discussed it enough. They win the match, and that is how we end Ultra Clash 93. Gentlemen, overall, what'd you think of the show? I know we poked some fun. We had some fun again this week and some doozy moments, but
I'll give it a 2.5
out of 5.
Yeah,
I can agree with that. I'm
going to say there's a lot that I liked about it. Like, a lot of it that I liked about it was because it was going in the right direction.
Yeah, you're putting things to rest. You know, you're starting to put some guys out to pasture. I don't know if we'll see the Super Destroyers again. We may never get the satisfying ending to this story.
Yeah, we might never get the closure.
No, I think we got what we deserved from it. I think we got what we deserved.
I don't know. I only wish upon a star that we get the closure of the Super Ds. But I like the fact that what Eddie did was he brought in the names like Abby, Kevin, Hanson, Funk, and all them guys in because he brought in a lot of people that were probably going to independent wrestling, you know, that were disenfranchised at this time. And that was a completely alternative show. I mean, whether you like what you saw or you didn't like what you saw, it was a completely different show, right?
Oh, yeah, it was much different than anything else you were seeing on TV at that time. Yeah,
right. So therefore, in my opinion, it was well worth the amount of money that Todd spent to bring in the Abdullah and all them guys. You know, because later on we're going to get the Sheik, for Christ's fucking sake, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's the beauty of ECW is like, wow, now we're finding out what all these people really want. And when you speak about the alternative, this is the alternative. We want more, more violence or more realistic?
More realistic. Yeah, more realistic. That's what I'd say.
More realistic in our wrestling.
I want more Mid-South than I want WWF. Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
More everything. I'll take all Deep South Chattanooga before I'll take WWE wrestling.
Yeah. Well,
I try to tell Jess all the time that I consider myself fortunate the fact that I'm not a wrestler now because I wouldn't want to work for the WWE. Why would I want to work there except for the money?
I mean, nobody gets made a star anymore. You know, I mean, everybody's just a what I don't know what the expression I'm trying to look for, but everybody's just a piece in the puzzle. Yeah. Everybody's just another piece in the puzzle that, well, we can take you out, we can put you back in, whatever. It's all about the brand. It has nothing to do with the stars anymore. It's WWE. Whoever's here's here. And we'll put them in shitty storylines on our TV.
None of it seems fun to me. Like I'd want to be a part of it. Like, you know, even going over your match, you have to go over it with somebody.
Right.
But back in these ECW days, do you really think it was like that at all?
I don't think so. I was going to ask you that. Did they even tell you, you know, you have this much time then, or did you come up with your match and then okay?
But I mean, basically, it would be like let me guess, it would be it'd be Todd. I guess Todd would be the guy. I mean, for me, I'm sure that the higher ups had their finishes already, you know, going through a Paul.
Right.
To be like, all right, you're doing you're going out third with 911, or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's it's just weird, like how wrestling is nowadays. How you can't just go out there and do anything on the fly.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it doesn't look real anymore. And I'm not disrespecting what the guys and the gals do. They're still talented individuals and great athletes, but damn, it sure ain't what it used to be. So guess what?
I just wouldn't want to work there. It to me, it sounds more like a job now than it would have ever have been. Like this, remember back in the day, you would hear about, like, just say, I don't know, Big John Studd. All the traveling he would have to do. Mm-hmm. And he would probably say, yeah, all the travel is a pain in the ass kind of thing. Well, that sounds like a walk in the park compared to how the guys are now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What they got to do, what they can do, what they're allowed to do.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Next week, our show is the ECW show from September 21st, 1993. I will read the description from the WWE Network. All right, Ultra Clash has some changes. Ultra Clash has some changes here, but we have kind of more of the same, it sounds like, next week. Listen to this. On this edition of Eastern Championship Wrestling, Jimmy Snuka defends the ECW Television Championship against the Metal Maniac.
Woo!
And let's see. They're gonna show us highlights from Ultra Clash, plus an update on Sal Balomo's condition. We all have to know. We have to know. And much more. I'm a hurt.
I'm a hurt. But the kids.
That's a spicy meatball.
Oh, the kids. The kids.
Well, gentlemen, any parting words for our listeners this week as we sign off after discussing Ultra Clash 93?
Oh, looking forward to next week, and actually enjoyed watching this show and discussing it with you guys.
Yeah, I thought, this is the kind of show that's really going to get me excited when it comes to going forward with doing these shows.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you're starting to see that there's better talent. Weaker talent's getting weeded out. And I don't, I've said it a million times. I don't wish any ill will on anybody. That weaker talent's getting weeded out, and we're starting to see, new talent coming in, and the product's going to get better, and we're all going to benefit from it.
Yes.
And the shows are going to get better. And I was telling Jess that I was afraid that that our fans weren't going to follow our show if it weren't as funny anymore, because the shows were getting better and we're not beating them up as much. Like, I thought maybe the jokes may have been part of the reason why we got so many listeners.
We
but
should.
When the shows get good, they're gonna listen to us do our analysis.
I'm sure every single show is going to have at least one thing that can be turned into comedy. Well, gentlemen, thank you for joining me this week. Listeners, thank you for joining us. And we will continue the journey next week as we are reliving the extreme. Have a great week, everybody.